as aggressively as you possibly can in most situations. There's my 2-1, so I'll try again here. Let's watch the replay. Full vision of the map, right? We've got a guy looking for drops up here. I have these. This is how to have really good, solid fundamentals behind you. Hey guys, it's Filter SC here, and I'm back for another video. This video is going to be a little bit different than the previous videos, and the reason for that is there's some pretty big news today that MLG won't be having StarCraft 2 at their Columbus event, and I wanted to share a personal story with you as well as some opinions on the subject matter, because I think it's a pretty big deal. I know it is to me, at least, as well as possibly to a lot of other people. Now, the game we have in the background, and I'm going to talk more about it a little bit later on. Some of you may recognize the map, a lot of you probably won't. This is on IC Cup Test Bug, which was one of the first kind of big maps that were community made, community driven to show up in a tournament. And so this map ended up being the first pick, and a lot of people were vetoing it, and the players playing against this map ended up being a by default first map. So you had to play on it. You couldn't veto because the way the veto system worked back then was a little bit different. So this is the first map that got played on in this round. This is from the loser bracket, round 2. At the time, I was a Diamond Terran, and I was up against a Masters Protoss, and I mean like a legit like mid-level Diamond Terran. So I'll explain a little bit more as we go on and talk a little bit more about the replay, but hopefully you guys get a kick out of it. This is easily my favorite game that I've ever played of StarCraft, so I figured now is as good a time as any to show it off to you. So the first thing I want to talk about just a little bit, before I get more in depth about the game, my experience, why MLG is kind of special to me, is the fact that it was getting dropped. And the biggest reason I see for this is a lot of people have been watching WCS, although they put it on the weekend with the International, so a lot of people have been watching that, in fact a lot more people. But I feel like North American StarCraft specifically, because it's so spread out, functions so much better in a LAN environment, because it allows no-name players to make a name for themselves, right? Players like Scarlet made a name for herself at, IPL, right? That's where she became really, really big and important, managed to sign with a team and become a big player, a big-name player, right? Without the opportunity for those big LAN events where teams can take chances on small players, it's just not going to happen. Now, Scarlet kind of got in through a Playham giveaway, but that's a little bit different. Now, the reason I feel like the best environment is the big LANs with big open brackets is because anybody can really go to them, to be perfectly honest. Like, at the end of the day, me and my buddy went to MLG Columbus and we drove there from Calgary, which is an extremely long drive, but that's how we got there, and it wasn't an expensive trip, right? And I feel like, even if you're flying, you can get a lot of places in the United States for $300-400. If a team is, a big team like my team, Quantic Gaming, when we go to a big event like MLG, they'll rent out a couple of hotel rooms, and those hotel rooms are going to house all our players. So when it comes down to sending somebody who is small and relatively unknown on our academy roster or whatever, it ends up not being too big of a deal because we're just paying for their flight. We're already going to pay for their hotel room, right? But when you start having things like LCS, or sorry, not LCS, WCS, where it's league format play, and only the top 16 players get to go to a LAN, you're not going to find too many of those guys that are just kind of out there and random, right? And then the flip side is you get a lot of Korean players making the trip for that, or not making the trip, but going through the qualifiers offline. And it just cuts down the amount of players that can get there and make a name for themselves. Guys like the Agnes had to quit because it was just, it was going to be too hard for him to make a name for himself and earn that money, right? If anybody here has ever been to a major LAN like MLG, you can see he's doing a little bit of harass because my bunker's late. I think I get the Marauder in and shut that down a little bit. I'm going to get harassed quite a bit here, I think. This is way back in the day, so it's kind of a funny thing. But I think the experience of a LAN is so beneficial to a player, much more so than an offline event, because offline, any player can practice with any player, and the environment is just totally different. But when you go to an event and you see somebody like, I don't know, like back in the day it was Idra and In Control and Huck and those guys, and you see them at the event, you see them talking, you're in awe, you watch how they play, you get to go behind them and see exactly what they're doing and what they're up to. My experience was, sadly I can't even remember the guy's name, but he was a Czech 6 player, and he played against my friend in a TVP in the open bracket. And I watched what he did and how he opened and how he kind of handled the game, and I was like, oh, okay, this makes so much more sense. And I was watching him just hammer my friend, right? And it was, I learned so much from that event. And just the experience of going there, right? Just as a fan, basically. I played in it, and I didn't do very well. And if you search filter SC Liquipedia, you'll see, like, just the MLG brackets. I don't have a Liquipedia page or anything, but you'll find me on the brackets, and you'll see, I lost my first series 0-2 to a guy who actually was on FXO NA's FXO Sir Robin. So he's a pretty good player, but at the time he wasn't a professional. And he's still basically amateur status. He hasn't really managed to make a big name for himself yet. But it's just like the experience is so important, and when you take that away, you go to this league play format where only like 16 players make it out. It really limits the potential, and I strongly feel like Blizzard made a huge mistake when with StarCraft 2 they decided to go with this kind of league play format, specifically in North America. I think they should have catered to the different regions. Definitely when you're dealing with Korea, it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense for them to have all their stuff as a LAN and do a league play format, because everybody's so centralized this whole South Korea. North America, that's not the case. And for EU, it's not too expensive to get to Germany for those players, so it's, doing a league play format there works as well. Although I'd like to see the whole thing offline, but I don't think that's going to happen. But for North America, because it's so spread out and the players come from so many different areas, as well as the history that MLG has with StarCraft 2, it was a huge mistake by Blizzard not to embrace that, I think. The best thing they probably could have done is embrace that and just go ahead and say, like, WCS North America is going to be these big MLG events, right? We've seen League play. NASL does a fantastic job of broadcasting in their format, and they have good casters. They have everything they need to be very, very successful and make it a high quality production. But at the same time, they're just NASL hasn't been very successful with StarCraft 2 overall up until recently, where they started to pick up a little bit, right? But we saw that type of format doesn't work that well for North America, even in terms of viewership numbers, right? When you have a big major MLG event, and that's what everybody's looking forward to, people are going to tune in for that. When that's like the big premier event, right? When that's your WCS event, Blizzard's hyping it up, they're posting it on their main webpage, all this stuff. It'll be a big successful event, right? But unfortunately they decided not to go that route, and MLG has decided to drop StarCraft 2, and it's definitely a business decision. So is what it is, guys. There's not much we can do about it. MLG's meant a lot to me, as well as to a lot of other people that have been to those events, and I don't think there's any real reason to hate them for it, other than kind of the poor way they've gone about it in terms of PR and stuff. But not much we can do about that right now. It just kind of is what it is, right? That's all I wanted to say in terms of how I feel like they should have done WCS. I feel like it would have been a lot more successful. You would have given a lot more players the opportunity to do what they love. And in my case, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit here. Now, the game that we're watching is from when I played live at MLG, and I had a whole bunch of people behind me watching the game, including my friend that I went with. And the story for me is pretty simple and straightforward. I was talking with my buddy, and we were just having lunch at work one day, and I go, "Hey man, wouldn't it be cool to go to MLG? That'd be awesome, right?" Because we were both StarCraft players. He didn't really watch too much professional play, but I definitely did. And I remember getting into it through guys like Boxer and Nada. In StarCraft 2, I knew about the Brood War scene, but I didn't follow it, and I really wish I had of, to be perfectly honest. But we decided on a whim to go, and we drove. I don't have the information in front of me, but we drove something like 3,000 miles. It took us just about a day and a half, like 40 hours of solid driving to make the trip. And we did it in one shot because we messed up our hotel bookings. But overall, it was pretty awesome. It was an awesome experience. And when I got there, the first day I got there, like I said, I watching all the pros come out and talk to us. It was awesome, right? Seeing Day 9 run around the floor and stuff. It was a really, really cool event. As you can see, we're fighting for the watchtower here a little bit, but A little bit of biomicro, and you can see how bad my APM was back then. It's like 75. It's not so good. But I do win the fight because I believe I have better upgrades than him. I just finished my 2-1 at the time that this fight happened. I think he was just on 1-1. And yeah, so we decided to go. And that first day, I got smashed. I went out 0-2. My friend went out 0-2. And then we watched all the games. And it was so much fun to watch guys like MMA play, right? But being able to watch players first person just made such a big impression on me. Improved my game immensely, right? So the second day came, and I played against. Oh, this is actually really cool. I mean, this is why this game went really well for me. So I go for this drop after picking up because I noticed he only had Zealots and just the Colossus out. So I'm like, okay, well I can try to drop him and kill off this Robo Bay. Now what's really cool is if you check in the top left, you see Thermal Lance is just about to finish, just about to finish, just about to finish. And I managed to kill that and get out with quite a few of my units. This is before medevac boost, obviously, so my medevacs aren't boosting out. I have to be careful how I pick up my units here. But I do get them out, and I managed to deny Thermal Lance off him, which is quite a big deal. You can see I've got, you know, a decent supply lead right now, which is awesome. I've also found his base, and I was just playing out of my head. I started dropping everywhere, you know, lots of multitasking, taking a third base, stuff that I wasn't used to. But anyway, like just watching the way the players went about things made a big impression on me, and instantly changed my game and how I wanted to play. And the funny part is, after MLG Columbus, you'd think we'd be completely burnt out of StarCraft after watching MMA win and do the whole Hadouken and all that kind of fun stuff. But we weren't. We were super excited, and it made such a good impression on us that we went ahead and our next day in our hotel room, we were going to go visit and take a look around Columbus because you know it's a really nice city, but it's not a place I'm going to go travel to, right, as a tourist attraction. So it's probably the only time I'm going to be there. So we were going to go look around, but we decided not to. We just sat there and played StarCraft and just rotated off because we'd actually brought a computer with us to play the game. And we just played all day. And when I got back, I just played non-stop. I was so jacked and excited about StarCraft and playing the game from the experience of going to the big LAN event, right? And without that happening anymore, it's just not going to be the same. And I think it's a big missed opportunity. But I wanted to share my personal experience with you. I'm sorry this isn't a tutorial video, guys, but this is kind of news that it does suck for me personally, because I'm going to miss it. And I wanted to share this experience with you guys, because if you haven't been to an MLG, like, I'd tell you to go, but can't now, right? It's unfortunate you missed it, but it was such an awesome event. I enjoyed it so much, and it completely changed my own game of StarCraft, because when I got back from MLG, I played non-stop, and I actually got Masters within a week or two of coming back. And I'd been a Diamond player for, you know, 2, 3, 4 months or something like that, and I just couldn't break into Masters, right? But just the experience of going to MLG improved my game that much. And if it can do it for somebody like me, who's, you know, just an average casual fan, I can only imagine what it can do for, you know, somebody who's an average pro player, right? Oh, we're starting to get some freezes, and okay, everything's loading. But I can only imagine what that kind of experience can do for a pro player, right? Where you talk to other people, you're always learning about the game. You see people you look up to in person and that kind of stuff, and that's gone now. And that's really going to hurt the North American scene, unless somebody really steps in to replace that big open bracket and all the fun and that kind of stuff associated with it. And again, I understand why MLG got rid of it, but really is unfortunate, in my opinion. Anyway, so talk a little bit about this game. Well, this guy was the guy that I was playing was a high Masters player, and again, I was just a mid diamond Terran. So this first game, I think I caught him by complete surprise. I don't think he was ready for me, because I was like, I got this new build idea. I've been playing it after the first day of events. I've been practicing. We've been laddering with my buddy, having tons of fun. Just completely enjoying the event, top to bottom. And you can see, like, I'm mixing in Ghosts, which I typically am bad at right now. I'm dropping all over the place. I've got my 4th base going up. Lots of cool stuff, man. And this game is it's very sentimental to me, because it's easily the most meaningful game to myself, anyway. And I figured I'd go ahead, find the replay, download it, and show it to you guys. Well, I talked over and just shared some of my MLG experiences, because it's a shame that it's going away. But is what it is, right? There's not much we can do about it now, right, guys? It's unfortunate. So, but you can see coming up to deny his third base. He actually doesn't have. There's this base expansion which he doesn't have. I believe I attacked that in a drop, but I'm killing off his third now, or his real third now. His main and his natural are his natural's almost mined out, but his main is definitely mined out. You can see, look at worker counts, the 62 to, oh, this engagement, hold on, I gotta pull it back. Let's pull it back a little bit and show you the engagement again. Hopefully the replay doesn't crash because it's old. On this map, I actually trapped myself in here by killing this, and I stayed too long to kill everything off. But I back out, and we've got this is a big fight here. So you can see I'm up 193 supply to 132, but a lot of my army is back at home because it's been reinforcing to this watchtower. You know, I get a really good, I do a good job with my Vikings. I managed to hit my EMPs. I think I just take like one storm in here. No, I didn't even take a storm. I EMP'd perfectly. And his force fields ended up working against them. So that's one of the best engagements I've ever done. And this game is awesome to me because I beat a player who's much better than me, and he proved that in the next two games. But this game I played out of my mind, and it's probably some of the best StarCraft I've ever played. I know he was shocked, the look in his face, because he was talking with his friend about how he's going to play him in the next round and all that stuff, and I was super happy that I beat him. Even my micro and just pulling everything back was great. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. Easily my favorite game of StarCraft 2 that I've ever played. Anyway, guys, I wanted to put this video out because it sucks that MLG's going to go away. Hopefully it'll be back. Maybe Blizzard will I don't want to say wake up, but maybe Blizzard will realize big lands are the way to go for North America. It's the best way to get new players involved in the game. By far, like if you go to an event, you see people playing StarCraft and that kind of stuff. The atmosphere just can't be beat. And I'm really hoping Blizzard sees that. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of a story time with me. I don't think I've ever told the story in any of my videos before as well, so that's good. And just let me know in the comments below, man. Like, tell me what your experiences at MLG were like when you either went there and played, went there and watched. What your experiences are like from watching it online. You know, maybe you went to a different event. You went to something in Europe or Korea, because I know there's a lot of people that watch my videos from all over the world. Let me know in the comments, man. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what your experiences were like, and let's try to bring the positives, man. Because there's so much negativity surrounding this. We need to bring the positives and just show them how much we appreciated the 2 years and 15 events MLG put on for us. I know without that event, none of my content would exist. Let me put it that way. And my life would be completely different. Would it be better or worse? I don't know. But I've enjoyed a lot of StarCraft, and I really enjoy the game, and I love the game. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below how you feel about this whole thing. It's kind of an emotional thing for me, and I want to show you this game because it's easily my favorite game. Anyway, guys, this is Filter SC, and I'll see you tomorrow with real tutorial videos, but hopefully today you enjoyed this.